This event is part of the Tiqets Save the Date campaign, which is an online series of events to help you rescue romance this Valentine's weekend. You can see some of the other events coming up this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you are on the screen there. But today we are so excited right now to welcome you to the Sunset Gondola ride. Before we join our host for this experience, we have just a few quick logistics to take care of. If you have any questions for the presenter, you can submit them through the Q&A button. We'll try to answer as many as possible as we can at the end of the session. And you can also vote on your favorite questions. So even if you don't have a question of your own, pop over to the Q&A box. You can press a thumbs up on the questions you like, and we'll be sure to get to those at the end of the session as well. This is a Zoom webinar, or you might be joining us on Facebook Live, but either way, your camera won't be on, but you can use the chat to communicate with fellow attendees and presenters. You can share where you're joining us from. I see some of you already doing that in the chat, and you can share your reactions during the session by using the chat to message all panelists and attendees. I see a lot of you messaging all panelists currently. That's great. It means you're communicating with us, but if you do want to communicate with the other attendees as well, select all panelists and attendees before you send your message. Lovely to see people from all over the world. I see Egypt, Portugal, Nova Scotia, Holland, Canada, wow, all over really joining us. During the session, if you have any technical difficulties, you can send a chat to all panelists, just to us, and we'll help you out as soon as possible. But really just rejoining the session, leaving and rejoining will solve 90% of your problems. And then finally, this experience will be recorded and you'll be able to watch all the Save the Date experience on the Tiqets Facebook page for the rest of Valentine's weekend. So you can have an on-demand romantic moment whenever you want to this Valentine's. And we'll be sending all the recordings of these experiences to you tomorrow morning promptly in your inbox. So you'll have it shortly. Now, without further ado, let's get to the exciting part of the evening. I'm thrilled to hand it over to our presenter for this virtual experience, who is Alessia, who is going to transport us to Venice and this beautiful canal ride. So Alessia, you can take it away.
Ciao, hi, we're here today in Venice. Hi. So as you can see, we're already in our gondola tour with our gondoliere Ferruccio. And now we're in a small waterway. So I don't know if you follow us the last time in the gondola tour. So today we're going to see other things. But for sure, what better than Venice for an appointment for a date in St. Valentine's Day. So even if it's not already St. Valentine's Day, just chill day left to this date. And we can start speaking about a little bit of love. So Venice, I think people from all around the world know this city, and maybe I'm a big supporter of Venice, but I'm even on its side because I'm an inhabitant, so I really love Venice. But Venice it's the most beautiful city in the world, and it's unique, as you can see. So now where you can find a city where you go in a gondola, where there are no streets, there are no cars, there are no buses, there are just canals and there. So you can see even the San Marco Campanile San Marco, so the bell tower of St. Mark's Square. That's our Paron de Casa, so the owner of Venice, our symbol of the city. And from here, it's just the only point, the only spot, the only bridge in Venice where you can see the bell tower of San Marco, except from the square. So I was saying, we're here on a canal, and no buses, no cars. We go just by feet. So to go in Venice, you just need feet. And if you have a gondola, it's even better. And so now we're going outside, I think, so there are the small canals, the small waterways like this one. But now we're going in the Grand Canal, the main canal of Venice. So that's a few meters deep. And so as the city of love is a city of love because of its corner of the sunset that you can see with the pink and orange shades. And even so, what's better than a gondola on St. Valentine's Day with your partner? And maybe you can think even about a proposal of marriage in the gondola. What's better than this? But you have to know that in the 1934, there was not the possibility for Venetian people to go on a gondola and to have the proposal of marriage and even the proposal of their love, because there was a really low tide. Usually we speak about the high tide. This time, the 1934, there was a really low tide that reached the minus 121 centimeters. So it was not possible to ride the gondola on the small canals, and all the dates had to be postponed. And now I stay silent because you are going to see a really beautiful view of Venice. Just you were here because we want to celebrate love with a toast for you and for us too. So here we're on the Grand Canal. That's pretty empty this time of the year, but above all for the virus. Unfortunately, we have this.
And now it's time for
a toast. Now we celebrate St. Valentine's Day. Voila!
This is for my love, Alessia.
Thank you.
And this is, for me, the best boyfriend in the world.
Maybe.
Oh.
Chin chin.
Saluta.
Cheers. So now you're going to see the Arialto Bridge. So it was the first sight that we had once we reached the Grand Canal. And this bridge is one other symbol of Venice, we can say, because, so now we can say it is a symbol of Venice. So it links two parts of Venice. It links, you know, Venice is divided in different districts, 6 different districts that we call Sesteri, but this bridge, it was the first one that was built across in the Grand Canal. And the first time it was a wooden bridge. So it was a drawbridge that it could open in order to let the ships reach the market that's after the corner on the left. So it had to open in order to let the other ships from all around the world to go there. And so now we're going down the bridge. And in the 15th century, they decided to build it in stone. So it was more resistant, and even it couldn't be open in order to let the ships go to the market. And this building that you see on our right, it's the Fondaco dei Tedeschi. So the German warehouse. It was the place where the German could do their market, they deposit their merchandise. And nowadays it's really beautiful inside. They restored a few years ago. And in here, it's like a super big boutique in which you can find all the big marks. So like Gucci, Prada, so all the big marks that I can touch but not see, but not buy. And so I want even to tell you some stories about love in Venice. There is the story of Orio at the Bragola, who was in love with a mermaid. The mermaid name was Melusina. And so they had a really beautiful love. They used to meet every night, and on the sea. And they were really in love with one another. But in fact, for the sign of their love, they decided to have a heart in a small clever street that there is here in Venice, in the Bragola, that's in Castello, necessary of Castello. And so there's this kind of love. There are many signs of love all around Venice. And now I want to speak about a really beautiful tradition that we have in Venice, the tradition of the boccolo. Boccolo is the rosebud. And so this tradition dates back, it became part of our history from it dates back from a really old Venice. And This Venice is the one.
This is for you.
Thank you. Even if it's not the 25th of April, but I accept it really much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is the boccolo, so the rosebud. And the rosebud is a sign of love. You're in Venice above all the other places. And it's a sign of love because there was this story about Maria Partecipazio and Tancredi. So Maria was a noblewoman who was really beautiful. She had many men who were with her, who were in love with her, but she just wanted one man. This man is Tancredi, but Tancredi was not the right man. So Tancredi was the wrong man for her because it was just a storyteller. So he couldn't be in love with a noble woman because her father couldn't accept him. And Maria, for this reason, decided so she listened that there was a war in the Pyrenees, so in the mountains between France and Spain. And she told her beloved Tancredi that to gain glory and to let her father accept him, he had to go to war. And he did this way. So he went in war. He was a really good soldier and one of the best ones because he used to fight not in the name of the war, but he used to fight in the name of love. He fight it in order to be proud, so to let Maria be proud of him. And this story, so Tancredi was in war. Maria didn't know about Tancredi for many months. The month passed by until the Paladins of France who were fighting with Tancredi was part of them, came in Venice. And they came in Venice because they had to see Maria. And Maria, when they saw Maria, they had to say that Tancredi is dead. Tancredi was dead. But the last thing that they did was to take a rosebud, and that rosebud was fed with this blood. And they gave it to her, and she went in a room. She was destroyed by this, and she died too. But this rosebud at the beginning, it was dry, an old rosebud, and then it was changed after a few hours when even Maria died. The rosebud changed. It was red. It was full of love, and it was full of life, because the boccolo, the rosebud, was the sign of their love, that love that never dies. And that's why every 25th of April, the day of San Marco, the day of the boccolo, every Venetian gives to their woman the rosebud in the name of love, that love that never dies. And so now I go back with a little bit of Venice too. So as you can see, we're here in the canal. There is water buses. There is just us with the gondola. So what's better than this? It's quiet. It's romantic here. And the only thing that you listen is the noise of the water. The noise of the water. And so as you can see, usually even in the regular gondola tour that we do, usually there is me and even my colleague Rachele that usually were in the gondola, and we do the explanation of what we see of the palaces and about even some stories of Venice. If our customer have some question for us, they ask us, and we do it in English, in Italian, in Spanish, a little bit of French, just a little bit. And for other languages, well, 9 languages in which there is an app. So now our app that we use, and there are 9 languages, even Hindi, Russian, and German. And so you can listen to all the parts of Venice. So these are the old palaces where there is the seat of the whole of the town, where there is our sindaco. And so these palaces dates back a long time ago, in the 13th century, and maybe they're one of the older palaces that we have in Venice on the Grand Canal. And what we see now is what a nobleman could see in the 17th century. And so you can see the Grand Canal, this view, added noblemen in the past could see it. There is no one these days. So here there are most of the palaces nowadays. These are no houses for people because they are too expensive. This is a 7 stars hotel, so you can imagine how much it costs. And in here, got married George Clooney.
Yes, exactly.
So with his actual wife. So as I was saying, most of the palaces are hotels with a dock on the with a dock on the water side, and, or big palaces like seat of the regions, all of the town, or important palaces. And from here you can see another time the Arialto Bridge. I remember 1400 for Arialto Bridge. And today I want to speak even about Casanova. So Casanova was the playboy, the Venetian playboy that I think everyone all around the world knows Casanova for his fame, bad fame, but a fame. And so Casanova had a lot of women from all during all his life, but he fell in love for just 2 times in his life. In a relationship that lasted for 9 years with a girl that was named Francesca, but the true love of his life was Henriette. Henriette was a noblewoman from France that he met when he was when he was doing a trip in Italy. He had to reach Naples to leave there some documents, and he had to stop in Civitavecchia, the port of Rome. So in the coast where there is Rome, and Civita in there where he was when he was in the port, he saw a really beautiful woman, even if she was in a disgrace. So in fact, Henriette was traveling in Italy in a disguise dressed as a man. Yes, here you can see the ambulance. So even we have all the sorry if I stop, but it's something that doesn't happen really many times. But we have every boat, so the policeman, boat, the ambulance, everything. Yes, Ferruccio say that the ambulance is bringing back Tancredi in the hospital to let him cure, so he can feel better. So the paladin of the rose. So he can bring Maria the rose, but he told yes with a baby. So now we go back with Casanova. So we'll say Casanova. Casanova was in love with this Henriette, and they saw her even if she was dressed as a man, and she was traveling in a disguise dressed as a man because she was escaping from her marriage, and we don't know why she was escaping, but just that she was escaping from this. And so they meet in Civitavecchia. They were staying in the same.
No, no sound scrivono. So I was telling about Casanova and Harriet. So Harriet, well, I will say that Harriet was in a disc which she was dressed as a man, and even if she was dressed as a man, Casanova was able to see her and to notice her, and fate wanted that they were staying in the same hotel, and they decided to. So the first night they just did a look, so they play with their sides. So I look at you, you look at me, but I'm letting you see me. And about all this play with with what they were seeing, the next day she was alone because she was accompanying an old man. The next day, Everett was alone, and they decided to have a date together. So they had this date together, but they had to meet. They met in Rome. In Rome, in what is so Porta Nova, and in their trip lasted for just few months, just 4 months, because after few months, someone recognized her, and she had to go back to his life with their husband, so she couldn't escape anymore. But when they met, when they had to say their goodbyes, Henry told Jim to always remember her, that Casanova had always to remember her, and above all, that if there was this fate that they had to see another time in their life, they didn't have to look at one another, because she couldn't be with him anymore, even if both of them were really in love with one another. So unfortunately, their love couldn't last, but we're really sure that they were really in love with one another. And this one here that I could be showing you, this is the mother house, because you have to know that close by here there is the Teatro La Fenice, that was San Benedetto Theater in the past, when there was in the 1700s there was Mozart here, and it was here because it's just I think 100 meters from the house to the theater. So for Mozart was really easy to go to do his job. So now listen to the quietness that there is in a gondola tour, just silence.
So here we're back. So now we have arrived to our spot, our last spot when we go down. So from now, when we park the gondola, when we go down, you can ask as many you can ask questions to us, but even to Ferruccio too. So Ferruccio is for us easier. So you have to know that, so the gondoliere usually doesn't sing. There is so the gondola, there is the gondoliere, and there is the orchestra with the singer and the one who play instruments. So it's not just the gondoliere who sing in the canal. It's how to say, it's a say that that we have, so that the gondoliere sing. Usually it's not his job. Yes, but here they say that Tommaso can sing.
Because I can sing and dance.
È mio questo. Se l'hai finito?
I toughest. Traffic jam.
Small canal and traffic. So here you see that's the one that you can see here. It's the last part of Punta della Dogana. Punta della Dogana, so Dogana is the place where you have to pay the ships, where you pay taxes. So here, the people who came in Venice, they had to pay taxes in order to go inside the city. And nowadays in here there is a place that's owned by Francois Pinalou. That's a collector of Venice, where they do really important exhibition of art, international exhibition of art. So the gondolas is, as you so the I've noticed that the gondola is asymmetric. I know it. So the gondola is asymmetric, and in order to have the right balance, so Ferruccio can roll it with just one oar, so can ride it with just one oar. That's the reason why it's not symmetrical but asymmetrical. In this way, it's easier to bring the gondola. And here, so this one here, it's very beautiful church, the Saluta Church, Saluta Health. And it's the Saluta Church for us Venetian, it's really important above all this year and the 2020, because it's the place where we go to celebrate the Virgin Mary, and we thank her from the liberation of the plague. It was built in the 1600 in the 1600 for the liberation of the plague of the city. And so for us is even nowadays important. In fact, every 21st of November, we go here and we open a candle for the sign of the health of all our family. This one here, it's a really important hotel, one of the most known, the Bauer Hotel, 5-star hotel. So here on the Grand Canal, as I told you, so there was the 7-star hotel, the 5-star hotel, and other 5-star, a lot of 5-star hotel or really important palaces known by, for example, the Hotel Gritti was owned by a Doge, and there was Carezzonico, so the house of Rezzonico family, when one member of their family was a pope, so really important man and really important families of Venice. So we were talking about romantic things. So as you could see, the gondola is really romantic. And there is just you in a small boat without no one. The gondola in the silence of the city. Above all, nowadays there is silence, but really it's really quiet, and you can enjoy your time with the love of your life. So here we're in our last stop. And now when we go down, we can go on with questions that you have for us, for Ferruccio.
Fabulous. And as everyone is getting off the boat to take your questions, I'll just remind everyone joining us that you can ask your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. And even if you don't have a question of your own, you can vote on your favorite questions there. We have 35 already. We won't get to all of them. So if you vote for your favorites, we'll be sure to ask the best ones first.
So now we go down. Just if you see the move of the camera moves, is because we're getting off the gondola.
Yes, careful, don't fall into the cold water.
yeah, it's better than not. Yeah. Today is really cold in Venice, so.
Yeah, so lots of people have been asking. I think you said it was about 2 degrees Celsius there today. So
yes, even
less. Cuddled up for warmth.
Grazie mille. Grazie. I was looking for my phone, but Raquel has my phone.
Lovely. Okay, so go ahead and get your questions in there. We'll be almost ready to take them as Alessia and Tommaso get ready, as well as our gondolier, Ferruccio. And I see questions for all of them in the Q&A already.
So now, Ferruccio, just wait for 2 minutes, for even 30 seconds, I think.
No worries.
That Ferruccio is just tightening the gondola.
Yes, making sure the boat doesn't float away. It's very important.
Exactly. Yes, because it's a disaster if the gondola float away.
Ciao. Hello.
Wait. I may keep out the headphones so you can listen to Ferruccio.
Lovely.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so you're Ferruccio.
Can everyone hear me through the phone?
Wait a second.
È ovvio che devo guardare sempre a sinistra.
Are you able to listen to us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. And do you hear Ferruccio?
He's a little quiet, but if he steps maybe 1 step closer to the camera, then we'll hear him clear.
Okay, se puoi venire un attimo più vicino.
Perfect. Nice and close and personal. So we'll start with the questions for you, Ferruccio. The first question for you is, do you have any good love stories that you've witnessed while working?
Che bella storia d'amore che ti sta testimoniando.
In gondola.
In gondola. Lo dico in italiano?
Se vuoi dopo lo traduciamo noi.
Allora, la più bella storia che ho visto è stata una piccola baruffa.
So it was a
alta gondola, no?
Ok.
Che praticamente la nonna di lei gli ha regalato un giro in gondola, sapendo cosa si poteva fare con un giro in gondola. Lui invece
So it was is telling the story about a granny that gave as a present to her niece, no?
Era laureata.
For the graduation of her niece. And she told her, there is
una
in a
bellissima
gondola.
coppia,
So they
giovani.
were a really beautiful couple.
Yeah. E praticamente lui non intendeva andare in gondola perché per lui era un po' caro, no?
So I didn't want to go in a gondola because it was too expensive.
Ma lei gli diceva, ma scusa un attimo, ma a te cosa te ne frega che sia caro? È la mia nonna che paga il giro. È una vecchia tradizione.
So and the girl told him, so why do you care? It's my granny that's paid for us. So it's a good tradition for us to celebrate love in a gondola. So just stay quiet and enjoy the gondola tour.
E praticamente per me è stata la prima volta che ho praticamente convinto lui, non lei.
So for him, it was the first time that he had to convince the man and not the woman to go in a gondola tour.
Dicendogli una piccola frasetta, che la nonna gli ha regalato una cosa unica in assoluto al mondo.
Him that the granny had gave this present that was a unique thing in the world. So,
però il più bello della storia arriva un po' dopo, quando lui durante il giro si è convinto di quello che stava facendo e mi ha chiesto scusa e in più ha detto che valeva la pena.
So and when so they say the best thing that happened was when we were in the gondola and he said, okay, you were right, it was already a unique thing.
E io gli ho risposto che nella vita è giusto che lui stia attento ai soldi che si spendono, però quando si spendono per una cosa come la gondola non importa.
So he said, so I think you have to care about your money because, you know, above all now, possiamo dire.
E alla fine sono scesi, mi hanno tanto ringraziato.
Ecco. And in the end, he was happy, she was happy, and Ferruccio too was happy. So a love celebration was even if we started with a misunderstanding with the brand and the man, everything went in a perfect way at the end.
And what about you, Alessia?
Alla fine è stato più fortunato di quel guerriero.
So, and he's remembering me that this guy was luckier than Tancredi that died in the war with the paladin that gave the rosebud.
Perché la nonna che gli ha regalato il boccolo.
Because it was the granny that gave to her niece the rosebud, so he didn't have to have the rosebud too.
Okay, ciao.
Ciao.
I see you later. Okay.
Okay. So, Alessia, we could ask a couple questions for you then.
Okay. Yes.
So the first person is a question about your services. So someone wants to know how many people at a time are you able to have in the gondola now? How much does it cost and how long does it take for a normal gondola tour?
Okay, so usually in the gondola, we have the shared gondola where there are up to 6 people in one gondola. So if you look, there are all the seats over there. There are there are all these seats. So these are 6 seats for 6 people in a gondola. Becca is doing her job really well, so you can see every seat of the gondola.
Looks beautiful.
So if you have, so yes, it's up to 6 people.
And how long is the normal gondola tour?
It's 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
So half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the gondola. Then we have a small walking tour before starting the gondola.
Ah, lovely. And someone wants to know how much that would cost as well, typically.
So I don't know for the price because the prezzo della gondola.
Dipende.
It depends on the period.
Yeah, makes sense.
And the platform too. So thank you.
Yep. And looking at the rose that you're holding, someone wants to know, is Valentine's Day also celebrated in Venice? And if so, do you give red roses on the 14th of February too?
So the tradition dates back a lot time ago. It was the 16, 17, about the rosebud on the 25th of April. So love is celebrated in Venice from a long time. I don't know if you remember, there was even the 1700, the Grand Tour, where young people from all around the world used to come in Venice to study because it was the best place to study, but above all to know the city. So, yeah. But so do you want to know about the rosebud?
Yeah, that would be lovely.
So the rosebud here, I don't know if you were able to listen very good that story, but Tancredi, the man who was in love with Maria, had to go in war in France, but there he died. And before dying, he took the rose. He took the rose, and it was a dry rose. And he said to his mate to bring this to Maria in Venice. So his mate came in Venice. They came in Venice, and they gave the dry rose to Maria, that when she died, it became a true rose with life, because that rose didn't live of its life, but lived for the love that there was between Maria and Tancredi.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah, this is really beautiful. And so as every 25th of April, that in Venice it's another important day, because it's the day in which we celebrate San Marco, so the patron of Venice. And in that day, so we receive a rosebud in order to, so in the name of love, the love that never dies. So it's a sign of love that lasts forever, even if you die.
Lovely. Changing topics to the canals, Sandra wants to know, can people swim in the canals or only gondoliers go there?
No, it's absolutely forbidden to swim in a canal.
Yep.
Absolutely forbidden. Yeah, so you have to, if there are the policemen and they coach you that are swimming the canals, they give you an important ticket, so a bigger ticket. So it's better not swimming, and above all, they're not so clean.
Yeah, better to take the gondola.
Yeah, for your health, it's better not. Yeah, going just in the gondola, in the small canal.
Yes. And then Sue wants to know, have any gondolas ever sunk, or how often would a gondola sink?
No, luckily not. Luckily not. They didn't. No. Luckily not. So there was last year during the exceptional high tide, which there were gondola that, so as the poles were really, they were not so tall. They were, that is, the cord that let the gondola be parked on the poles escape, and the gondolas came on the streets. But so it was not with people inside. It was just of the wind and with the worst weather that we had in Venice. So I think you saw the images of Venice with the exceptional high tide, with the wind of the 2019. So it's already 1 year and a half ago.
Yeah, great. And then another question about the canals. Someone wants to know, what kind of fish are there in the water, if there are fish? And someone else asked about dolphins specifically.
So no, there are no dolphins. So it happened that in the lagoon there were dolphins, but not in the small canals. Absolutely not. Even tortoise. So the tortoise, I think they.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but not in here on the sea, in the lagoon, it's really difficult.
Yeah. And then someone else wants to know, Alexandra wants to know, if there are any haunted stories of Venice, so like ghost stories of Venice that you would tell.
Like ghost stories?
Yes. Spooky, scary stories.
So I don't know them, but for sure there are some scary stories of Venice.
That's fine. This is a tour about romance, not about
yeah, today's romance, not to be afraid.
Next, Hugo wants to know if you can tell us a story about the Medici family and a little bit about them.
About the
Medici family?
I don't know the story about that Radici.
Medici. I'm probably not saying it with the right Italian accent.
No, it's okay. The Medici, they're not from Venice, they're from Florence.
Okay.
So yeah, no, it's a different city.
Different town.
Yeah.
Perhaps
beautiful too, because it's beautiful at Firenze.
Someone else wants to know if any kings or queens have gone on a gondola ride in Venice.
I really don't know about kings and queens, but for sure I know about there was Peggy Guggenheim in the gondola. She owned the palace, where there is the Peggy Guggenheim collection. So for sure Peggy Guggenheim, for sure doges from all that were, let's say, back in the 11th, 10th century. So for sure there were pretty important men, but not kings and queens. I really don't know.
Yeah. And to talk about another important man, you mentioned that George Clooney got married in one of the hotels that we passed, and Fink wants to know, which hotel did he get married in?
So the hotel where he got married, the name of the hotel is the Haman Hotel, and that's the 7 stars hotel on the Grand Canal.
Lovely.
And yeah, it was.
How much would it cost to get married there? Do you know?
I really don't know, but it's too expensive to just imagine. I think so. Venice it's an expensive city, so you can imagine to get married on the Grand Canal in Venice in the 7 star hotel.
Yeah,
nothing more. I think I don't have to add anything more.
Yeah. And then a couple questions, one from Linda, and then there was another one I saw from Claudia about COVID in Venice. Both what's the situation with tourists in Venice, and how crowded would these streets normally be in a typical year?
So, in a typical year, usually in this moment that's Carnival, there will be the streets full of people. And now, as you can see, this is one of the where people most pass because there are really important boutiques. You can walk in here. So usually really there is crowd everywhere in this moment. After Carnival, there are less people, and then you start back with a lot of people from all around the world, because usually we have people from all around the world.
Lovely. And then one final question, I think, before we let you go. The last question I'll take is from Ollie, who wants to know a bit about how Venice was built. He wants to know, was Venice built and then flooded?
It's not an easy question. So Venice dates back. So the first time there were people in Venice, it dates back on the 421. So 421. And dates back in Torcello. That's one of the 3 islands of Venice, most important 3 islands of Venice. And it's not so easy to explain, but so there are wooden poles, not like this because it's not in wood, but so Venice is built as a palace. The wooden poles are planted in more or less 10 meters deep, where there is a strait of sand, of really strong sand that's called Caranto. And here there are the woods. Then there are platform in wood, which are covered with pietra di Istra and other. So Eastern stone is this material here, and they are covered with other material. So the water, as there is no oxygen, and the wood doesn't destroy, and it cementizes, so it becomes really strong, the wood. And so everything is built in this way with wooden poles, platform in wood, Eastern stone, and then everything is built this way. So the foundation are in wood.
Makes sense. Seems like quite a process.
It's really difficult. So it's even to explain, because there are something that even I can't understand how they were able to build a city like this in the 421.
Yeah.
And, if you think about today, they're not able to, maybe not here, but they're not able to build I think that lasts for just one year. Now we're palaces that are here from centuries and centuries and centuries, and they're in good state.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has said in the chat, I see so many messages thanking you for transporting us out by Ferruccio. For transporting us to the city of love tonight for Valentine's. So Alicia, I'll let you go and get warm, maybe with a glass of wine or something inside in Tommaso. But enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And if you're still in the mood for some more romance, there are still more live virtual experiences happening this evening. They're all free. So you can learn more about the courtship rituals of penguins. You can learn about the love story of the Gallaudet Castle and more. The love stories of New York as well from One World Observatory. Maybe Venice is the place I would want to be tonight for Valentine's weekend. So I really enjoy this trip there, and thank you guys.
Thank you so much for this experience.
Thanks, Tommaso. Have a great night.
You too.
Happy Valentine's
Day.
Bye.